This is the Said No One Ever podcast.
A podcast about things you never knew you wanted to hear about.
I'm Ian Bennett.
And I'm Martin Moore.
Let's get into it.
In the studio, Jack to be here. How was your weekend, buddy?
The weekend was chill. It was good. I had some home games.
How was Halloween with the kids?
Halloween?
What the girls go as?
Halloween officially sucks, okay? Because I'll tell you why. It's too planned out, right? I wish so the kids were dressed up as an M&M, okay? So
like the rapper or the candy?
No, the candy.
Okay.
So she's just green M&M, okay? And the other one was like a Grinch, right?
Sure.
But like there are times they're going trick-or-treating when it's a light out. Because obviously times have changed. People are scared their kids are gonna get abducted. But it takes I'm literally
Boy, that's dramatic.
Yeah, I'm literally looking at these kids and I'm just like, okay, this is it takes the essence away from that. So I don't like it. We need to go back old school, man.
Our neighborhood does it in the evening, and I really like it.
Yeah, why can't we do that? I mean, I get it. People are all paranoid and stuff.
Sure.
I don't know.
But I don't have kids, so
I love it. I like Halloween. I like the parties. I would like to dress up and stuff. But for the kids, I feel like it just sucks for the kids now. You know,
Well, hey, it's better than last year where there was no.
That's a good point.
Halloween.
I mean, you could just buy them candy, right? You could just buy them a bag. But I'm trying to be healthy and all that stuff. But that's enough.
Hey, we have an awesome guest on today's show.
We do.
Today's episode is called "Being a Woman."
Yes.
And what two better people to host an episode called "Being a Woman" than two men? But we have the founder of Support Local Milwaukee, host of Local Legends podcast, Miss Bikini United States, my good friend Marleigh Petras. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Martin.
Was that quite the?
That was.
I feel
quite
like we
the
needed
introduction.
trumpets and
right. You need a kazoo.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we should get a kazoo.
Party poppers.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good.
I have my coffee, so we're rolling.
I know,
Nice,
and I have
nice.
one of these Pierre pineapple.
I'm a tea guy. I'm a tea guy and a protein shake guy.
Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do, everything that you're involved in? Because you're involved in a lot of things. You're a very multifaceted person. You dabble in more things than I think 10 people I know do. So why don't you let the listeners fill them in a little bit on what you do and what you got going on right now?
Yeah, so Spark Notes. So I founded Support Local Milwaukee. So in the beginning of the pandemic, I had my quote unquote dream job. And when March hit, a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people can also relate to this. I lost my job. And for about a month and a half, I had absolutely nothing to do. And lockdown hit too. So, what else could you do besides stay at home or go on walks or runs or literally do absolutely nothing? Exactly.
Throw pennies in wishing wells.
Exactly. So at the time I was living in Third Ward and the idea kind of hit me. I would go to 89 Stone Creek before it closed. RIP. Before it closed every day.
Where does everyone in Milwaukee go to meetings now that place is not open anymore?
Wannable Cafe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I didn't say that. It's true though. Anywho, so the idea just kind of hit me. I was sitting outside Ratique on those stairs, the rounded stairs.
Yeah.
And again, you go on these long walks and you see boards up saying closed for business, or their boards up in general, basically see us online, order takeout. Some of them just closed down in general. And the idea hit me to start Support Local Milwaukee as an Instagram page, because there's a Facebook page for restaurant recommendations. But if I were to go back and I would keep scrolling, I couldn't find anything. And Instagram's my favorite platform. I am a digital marketing specialist, also known as a guru.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay.
But so that it kind of started on Instagram and it took off from there. The digital marketing specialist in me. Now we're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I built a website. Everywhere. Yeah, for sure. Learned how to build a website too during the pandemic.
That's a that's a huge skill. That's an asset bullet point on your resume. When you can build a website or even get involved with 50% of building a website, that's huge.
Well, and I also knew from, the digital marketing standpoint, you need some traction or a landing page for people to go to. And I started with a landing page and I told myself that wasn't good enough.
Right? You need to get deeper than that.
Yeah, exactly. Long story short, now we have a podcast, Local Legends Milwaukee, that's kind of put on the back burner.
I've been on that. I was one of your
you were
one of your first guests.
Yes, you were. So that's on the back burner right now. I have pitching ideas coming. Not going to disclose that information right now.
Oh.
You sure? This is a nice place to drop some top secret.
Some top secret knowledge. Yeah, for sure. I actually do have new t-shirt designs that I'm dropping
Nice.
for Small Business Saturday. That's not part of it, but that is. I'll show you after.
Sure.
Don't worry. But more or less, that's what I do in terms of the local business standpoint. I also do work at Whippick as a marketing specialist. I started that 2 weeks ago. Love it. Great organization.
Nice.
I also run the social media marketing for that new dog park.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Which got approved and everything, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did. So Support Local is a partner, and I'm running their digital marketing.
Nice.
So that's super amazing. What else do I do? I don't.
You do a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You also model.
Yeah, I also
I like how you forgot about that.
Yes, you do model.
So I'm right now. So I actually got signed with a modeling agency in the middle of a pandemic.
That's bonkers. How does that
happen? Yeah, I don't.
So this is what's crazy, right? So I started off with photography, graduated college, and I had everything in college. I was a full-time student athlete. I ran track and field in college. Whoop, whoop. I also worked 2 part-time jobs and an internship on top of all that. So when I graduated, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do with my life now? I have nothing to do. I don't have, any practice to go to, no classes to skip, like where am I supposed to go?
Exactly.
So modeling has always been a dream of mine, and I just went for it. So then, modeling, the industry is really hard to tap into. I'm a networker at heart. So it's not about what you know. It's about who you know.
Okay.
So I just kept that, and I believed in myself despite what everyone told me. I said, I can do this. I know I can do it. I've been told I can do it, like in my past. So what changes now?
Yeah.
Long story short, I got signed by my first agency in Chicago during the pandemic, and they told me literally verbatim, how have we not found you yet?
Ugh.
So I think the reason they found me during the pandemic is because everything slowed down.
Yeah,
sure.
And they were able to finally, take some time to actually look at things or people that they maybe quite wouldn't have before.
So were you just putting like shots up and stuff like on your Instagram?
Yeah.
And then
I would work with photographers, started in Milwaukee, and then a Chicago photographer picked me up. And then from there, it just becomes like a chain reaction. People will reach out to you. I did a lot of my work for free.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, models, especially starting out, want to be paid. And I understand that, but you have to, put in the work to get to where you want to be. Not saying, do all your work for free.
100%.
There's a lot of
value. I mean, I used to do that.
You gotta pay your dues, right? A little bit.
Yeah, well, you have to be passionate about it.
Sometimes working for free, sometimes the opportunity that can come from that can stem from that is much more valuable than the actual cash. So for an example, I when I was just starting off in photography, like I was just shooting pictures around the city, and this one company wanted to buy one, 833 East downtown. It's like that little new glass one next to US Bank, and they wanted to buy the photo from me, and I could have charged them a ton of money. I mean, they had the money to buy it from me, but instead I decided to just give it to them for basically nothing, in the hopes that like maybe I could get some more opportunity from them and they would hire me for other jobs, which they did. And I've shot tons of the buildings and skyscrapers downtown. And so there, like you said, there's a lot of value in.
Yeah. I mean, I was working with top photographers, and not only was I working with them and getting those photos, right? I was also learning movements, learning from other models, learning poses, learning myself, learning like once I tap into the industry, what's my niche? Like what am I going to be known for in the modeling world? And what ended up happening is I kind of have like everything under my belt.
Sure.
So that's why the agency could notice me, because I could do street, I could do like runway, and I'm not even that. We'll get into that later, but I'm technically not the supposedly height, like the right height to be a runway
model.
Really?
The right height? What's the right height? Because you seem tall. Well, you got heels on, but still.
Yeah. So technically you're supposed to be 5'8" or above, but a lot of runway shows are like 5'9", 5'10".
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And why? Is it just that the long lanky body? Like,
yeah, well, it looks from a clothing standpoint, it just looks it attracts your eye to the clothing.
Sure.
Right? The model itself is just supposed to be literally like, if you ever go shopping, you notice like a lot of the mannequins and everything look the same.
Yeah.
Not that they look the same, but it just adds like a complementing beauty to the pieces, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And I mean, if you go to a runway show, you're just like, wow,
Right.
wow,
Right.
wow, you know.
And I've shot a few runway shows
Yeah.
back when I was starting photography, and it's
Yeah.
cool. You know, you and I, one of the first people that I ever did a shoot with when I started for COS was with you. You modeled some headphones for COS.
Yep.
And I remember
that's how I started tapping into it, Martin.
I know. and one of the things that I've learned from over the years of shooting with you and shooting with other professional models is that there's an art to it. That is so underappreciated because it's very difficult to make anyone a model as a photographer, but a good, great, talented model can make anyone a photographer. And when I put a pair of headphones on someone like Marleigh or another model who does it professionally for a living, it's just so easy. I just snap the button and they just know what to do. And it's such an undervalued talent. And that's one of the things I kind of want to get into with this whole episode, being a woman. What does being a woman mean? I want to get into some of like the stereotypes that maybe you've dealt with in the modeling world and then the entrepreneurship world as well, because those are two sort of very different landscapes that most people think are probably incompatible with each other. So I want to get into that. I want to get into some of the unique skills that you've learned on the whole modeling side of your career and how that's translated into the entrepreneurship side and vice versa. I want to get into media and cinema and just pop culture in general and how women have sort of been portrayed as prizes and damsels in distress, and now we've seen women get more roles of value in substance. And so there's a lot of interesting things I want to get into with this whole, in air quotes, being a woman podcast, because I'm surrounded by a lot of very strong, powerful women. My wife has her bachelor's in women's studies. I mean, she's a feminist. All the women in my life I know are VPs and directors, and so I think this is going to be a really cool episode. And I think, Marleigh, you're going to bring a very unique perspective because you are on two typically very different ends of the spectrum when it comes to, again, in air quotes, being a woman as far as the professional side, because you do the professional modding and you're an entrepreneur. And you have a podcast. Yeah. It seems like a lot of people kind of box a lot of women in, and you either have to be you can't be a stay-at-home mom and a career-driven woman. You can't be a model and have your own business.
Or you're a model and you're not that smart, right? You're not like, right?
Well, exactly.
Or people don't take you seriously.
Yes, exactly.
So let's just get started with a simple one for you, Marleigh. What does it mean to be a woman in 2021?
Yeah, that's a loaded question for sure. I think there's a lot of strength and resilience coming from a woman perspective. I mean, we've come a long way. Just in terms of the woman gender.
Sure.
Nowadays it's pretty acceptable to be, kind of whoever you really want to be. There, not to say that there isn't still discrimination happening, in a workplace or just in general, but I think it definitely has come a long way. There is a lot of equal, efforts in terms of how females are seen.
Sure.
For example, I mean, I could just give you a story right off the bat. I have told you the story before, and that's kind of what sparked this whole podcast. One of the previous jobs I had an issue with me having my Instagram on public, and they wanted me to privatize my Instagram account because they felt it contradicted the job, and because other coworkers felt uncomfortable of the photos that I was posting. Yeah,
of like you modeling, you being in bikinis or whatever.
So the best part about it, the person telling me this and having the conversation with me was a woman.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And she also mentioned that she really didn't want to have this conversation with me.
Wow. It's interesting.
But she did, because that was what her job was.
So do you see a lot of jealousy then, instead of women backing women sometimes?
Well, so what I think was going on was she was doing her job, right? On air quotes. And it was not that it was almost as if whether she had an opinion or not, it didn't matter.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's gotta be frustrating.
Isn't that kind of crazy to think about that perspective?
Yeah.
So instead of saying, hey, no, you're wrong, I disagree with you, she's obviously doing a great job. This doesn't affect her professional outputs or anything. She chose to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that crazy to think about that perspective, rather than, because I always thought about it, me sitting in there saying, okay, now I feel cornered, everyone's against me. But I mean, woman empowerment is definitely a thing. That's becoming real.
Yes.
Women are backing women. Women are, hyping each other up is so-called, so be it.
Yeah.
But we're, we have each other's back. We're there to listen and help each other get to where we want to be. Another true thing is it's not like a lot of people say it's not my time yet. So in the pageant world, obviously you're competing with all these girls, right? And at the end of the pageant, it's a sisterhood. You make a lot of really good friends walking away from that. And one of the big sayings is it's not my time yet. Mm-hmm. So although you're there competing and you guys are all doing like all the girls there are absolutely amazing. They're all doing beautiful things, especially in the modeling world too. One of the big takeaways, it's not my time yet. So just because you didn't walk away with a crown or you didn't walk away with an award, you didn't walk away with something. And that's the same in the workplace. Although you didn't walk away with what you're looking for, it's not my time yet. So that job was not for me.
I like that.
That pageant or that crown or that reign wasn't for me.
I like that.
So that's something I can definitely take away. So like being a woman to me is knowing maybe, this is not my time yet, but I really feel like it is. We have this conversation where this is also why I'm on the podcast.
Yeah. We talk a lot.
Yeah. Well, Martin had asked me, like, why haven't you told your story? Because you have a whole bunch of stories you tell me. And I just said, Martin, it's just not my time yet. He said, Marleigh, yes, it is.
It is your time. It is your time.
So yeah, here I am.
Well, it's really interesting. You had brought up how far women have come, and it's one of those things that's like a lot of the sort of social issues in this country where we've come a long way, yet there's still a long way to go. And I was just brushing through, and here's my facts. Ian knows I love my stats.
This guy is facts and numbers, and But I like it. Let's go. Let's get it. At least we'll know what we're doing. We're dealing with.
It was only 100 years ago women got the right to vote.
Yeah.
Which is just
damn.
You want an even crazier one? 1973 is when women could serve on a jury in all 50 states.
Are you serious?
73.
What is wrong with this country, man?
1974, women were finally allowed to get credit cards.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
1974.
See, I'm Canadian.
2013, the Pentagon lifted the ban on female service members in combat roles.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And even today, we're dealing with birth control, abortion, equal pay,
Texas.
Me Too, Texas, and women are still having to fight for things that seem ridiculous in 2021.
Which is why you see a lot of them coming together.
Yes.
Which is like a lot of those movements, Empower She and all of that.
Sure. Do you see, at least in the world that you live in, you look back to during like the women's suffrage movement and, when women didn't have the right to vote, there was a lot of political dissidence there was a lot of women who felt that like their place wasn't in politics, and they felt like I don't have a right to vote. I don't know anything, But there was a whole other movement where they wanted the right to vote, and then they believed that they deserved the right to vote. Is that dissidence, that two separate groups of women, is that something you still see today? Whether it's you working with a brand or a company, or that issue that you had where they went to your Instagram page, do you see women today coming? I guess my question is, coming together more and supporting each other more in a way that maybe we typically haven't seen in the past? Boy, that was a long question.
No, it totally makes sense. And it's almost
lost me there.
And it's not just like women in general, but also, everyone has a different way that they view life and how they, want to perceive it, or their actions, or maybe it's how they're raised. And again, that's when education plays a huge role too.
100%.
So, nowadays I talk to women that are okay with being a stay-at-home mom. I talk to women that are go-getters that want to start a business, or just, want to work remote or work on their own and do their own thing. Right. And then I would talk to women that are okay with working a 9 to 5, and then maybe they'll just get married. And, there's so many different ranges, but yet at the same time, the commonality with, although we're all different, we realize we're all the same. Right. So we all have the same beliefs at the end of the day, in terms of we need to support each other. Despite our differences, like, we're here for one another.
Sure.
Like, you're open to talk, you're open to do whatever. In the modeling world, again, we can translate that, right? There's some models that rather model for Playboy Maxim, right? They would rather be risky. Yeah. Then that's also another, like, then you have the runway, then you have more streetwear. It's different niches, but at the same time, it's still an art, it's still a craft.
Exactly.
And I think that is something that a lot of people struggle with. And again, that's when you can bring in like insecurities. That's when you can bring in like a whole bunch of other things. But at the end of the day, we're still here for each other, no matter what life decisions or mistakes that you make. You know, like, women are here to support women.
Sure.
So Marleigh, I'm just looking at your Instagram, because I'm a big Instagram. I love Instagram. So I'm glad you said that, because I'm obsessed with Instagram. I'm looking at your Instagram. Your pictures are on point. Okay. So, but it brings me to my thing. You could just be a model.
Yeah.
Why do you do the other things, which I think is incredible? And I have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And it's people like women like you that they need to look up. And that's awesome, because you just don't model, right? You do it all, right? So why do you do extra? Why do you do more?
Yeah. So I have a very, very strong passion for digital marketing. And actually, the underlying thing is I want to help people.
Wow.
So another reason I started modeling, and I'm kind of happy I started a little bit later, was to get people's attention, to help tell my story and my past, but also to help women that were, you wouldn't know this by looking at me, but I went through a lot. So I wanted to be more of a role model and more of a resource for younger women to look up to me and reach out to me. And I've actually had some younger models or younger women looking to get into modeling, or younger women that I've met in the pageant system reach out to me and ask me questions like, hey, do you like modeling? How did you get into it? Or, hey, how is everything going? I really look up to you. Like, let's get coffee or something like that, or just like looking up to me. So the reason that I don't just stick with modeling, because I could easily do that route.
Yeah.
I want to eventually, or now per se, show that there's more than meets the eye. Models aren't just pretty, or models aren't just like perfect. We all are real people. And I know a lot of models, there was a couple that have stood up even on photo shoots to say the same thing, because sometimes photographers will treat them like that.
Yeah.
Makeup artists will, like, no matter who you are, like, we are people.
Yes.
Runway shows, like, people will yell, directors will yell at you. And it's like, look, if you, I get you're stressed out, but if you wouldn't want someone talking to you like that, why would you do that to anyone else?
Yeah, 100%.
So, I mean, I have different passions and different buckets. And believe it or not, I actually was really shy all the way through college up until my sophomore year. So I literally,
Serious?
yes.
Oh, you don't seem shy.
No, I don't.
Gosh.
So, and it actually all started because I found my passion with social media and digital. And once I found that passion, I like never shut up.
That's good.
I'm serious. I'm so serious.
Hell yeah.
My internship director from Cardinal Stretch University, his name's Sean. Sean, you can definitely vouch for me. He literally was like, what happened? You went to one internship in the summer, you came back a whole new person? Like, what in the world?
That's awesome.
I want to build upon some of the last things that you had just said, because one of the questions that we had for the show was, what is one of the most misunderstood or misinterpreted aspects around modeling?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to get back to the thing that you touched on, where you said, models are real people, we're not just a pretty face. And I think that's one of the biggest things I struggle with when I see my friends who are women and family members who are women, who are, especially if you're considered, in air quotes, very pretty, you're all of a sudden treated as less than human. You're dumb because you're in a bikini, you're dumb because you're a blonde. Those stereotypes, how do you deal with that? Because men don't deal with that shit. They don't deal with it in the workplace. They don't deal with it in social settings. No one assumes if Ian's a pretty man, no one ever looks.
Thank you, but I'm looking rough right now. I'm in the gym. I got my meathead work right now. Don't look at me now.
Ian does a photo shoot in a suit or something like that, or he does something in his wave outfit where he's got his abs or something.
Yeah, hey,
no one's
the boy guy abs.
No one's treating him the equivalent way that a woman would be treated.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that?
That's a good point.
How do you deal with that in a professional way, and then also in a personal way?
Yeah, so I'm still dealing with that.
Sure.
I'm still navigating through that. But when you said that, it sparked something that had happened to me. So during the pandemic, I was without, if you don't consider support local, I didn't have a job for almost 8 months.
Sure.
I was looking for a job. I actually had someone recommend like a hiring agency.
Mm-hmm.
So the woman that I was working with, by the way, I want to emphasize woman that I was working with. She told me, she said, write up a resume, send it to me so I can look over and edit it. And, we can, send it off and try to help you look for a job. So she sends back the resume and she only recommends one thing. She wants me to take my photo off of it because she didn't want that to offset any of the hiring process, and the photo was a professional headshot.
What? I don't.
And so why did you think the professional headshot was too much?
Because it was.
She said she didn't want.
She couldn't handle it.
No, it was. She literally said she didn't want employers to be intimidated.
Ooh,
and that's my problem. Why is a woman's looks? Why is that everyone else's fucking problem?
No, but honestly, real talk though, women can get intimidated, right? This beautiful girl comes in, it might jazz up the work. It might be tough.
But I mean, how weak? Some women are haters. How weak of a man do you have to be where you can't be around an intimidating woman?
No, but I think I think men can handle it a little bit better. But I still
they can't.
You don't think?
Fuck no.
You don't think men can handle another man though?
Oh, another man?
Yeah, like I'm saying, but women.
But men struggle. They struggle being around women. Powerful women that many men feel emasculated.
I wouldn't.
I'd
be like, this is amazing.
Of course you would.
Why? This would be amazing if you work with beautiful
not
coworkers.
Everyone is like us.
No, but I'm just saying, what's the problem? Like, I love everybody. Everyone comes in different shapes and sizes and different beauties and different colors. I love it all.
Because still in 2021, women they're sexualized. Women are,
especially when you're a model in the state of
especially when you're
conservative Wisconsin.
Sure, even if you're a strong, powerful woman, you're still doubted. A woman comes up, put a woman and a man in a room, and a man comes to you with a good idea, and a woman comes to you with a good idea.
That's happened to me.
Yeah, and you have a panel of people out there. Which one do you think they're going to take more seriously?
Not the woman.
No,
not the woman.
I'm
it's a fucking fact.
No, you're right, but I'm different than
exactly.
No, but I look for like the person's inside. Like I don't care about what like you look. So this is my problem maybe. So like even if there's a good looking girl, whatever, I think beauty's within. So I think that's why I'm kind of like, no, I'm cool with everybody because
and that's not an ethos that most men. That's not a mantra that most men share.
Okay, so I'm okay.
Most men struggle to look.
on
the inside of
which
a woman.
Leads to media.
Yeah, so let's get it.
That's crazy because like if someone, let's just say somebody thinks this girl's not attractive, but she's like awesome. She's got good vibes. I think that's beauty. I love that.
Well,
and beauty, so beauty is totally perceived. So like what you think is beauty, what you think is beauty, what he thinks is beauty, what a woman thinks is beauty.
Yeah.
Like there is no true definition of beauty. Beauty is like a perspective.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
That makes sense.
For sure. So like even
like your favorite
the most
song.
drop dead gorgeous girl to you could not be drop dead gorgeous to someone else.
Well, exactly.
That's a good point.
Right?
There's a lot of like me and Jen always talk about like our freebies and like Kirsten Dunst.
Wait, there's a new movie. It's called Hall Pass.
But like, I mean, that's true. There's a lot of people that like I see and I don't understand why people think they're attractive.
Yeah.
But
see, that's what I'm saying.
But anyways, Marleigh, you brought up the cinema thing. And I that's one thing I really want to get into because Ian and I have talked about this on multiple episodes. On the Gen Z and racism, we talked about this in That's So Gay with DJ Shauna. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
How has cinema and media progressed in portraying women as prizes or damsels in distress and giving women roles of value and telling stories that involve the empowerment of women? Because you go out into a movie even 10 years ago and the woman never has a job. She never has any desires or character development other than just to be found by a man.
Especially with a lot of the older movies, you see like that gender role really emphasized. The newer movies, you can see more diversity. You can see more roles as the woman being the head of the household and dad's a stay-at-home mom. There's comedies on that. There's serious movies on that.
And men get on Twitter and bitch about that.
Yeah.
I'd be a stay-at-home
look at Star Wars.
Yeah.
They were introducing tons of female characters,
and
men lost their fucking mind.
Yeah.
Women should run the world.
They should.
We do.
God, you do. So you do.
So Marleigh, how does the continued enablement of gender roles, how has that fostered a culture of prejudice and discrimination over the years in your opinion? Well,
I think there's something to definitely be said too. It's the younger generation that sees that and grows up with it, right? Mm-hmm. So for instance, I grew up with always knowing the woman was at home, stay-at-home mom. Yeah. And then I also grew up within the time period of it switching, right?
Yep.
My little sister, however, just grew up with the more free-spirited, everyone is accepting kind of thing. But at the same time, she also dealt with, like, women are supposed to be supportive of each other. They're absolutely not.
Yeah, they could be
mean. Yes. So there's definitely a
Yeah.
whole nother side of that, right? And when I was in high school, I experienced that. But also at the same time, like, she's still experiencing that. And the things that she's saying to me versus what I went through, it's like way worse. And so
Really?
you'd
Yes, it
think we'd
is.
be making progress on that,
No.
right? And it's like, we're not at all. So from that aspect, it's just incredible to even
Yeah.
like,
well, the thing is with media is it's one of our biggest teachers. I mean, we're propped in front of a television when we're 4 years old and we have iPads and everything like that. And so what you see is what you become. And so if you see women or African Americans or gay people or whatever it is, if you see them stereotyped, African Canadians, if you see a group of people stereotyped and used as the butt of a joke, and that's all you see your whole life, or of course that's the opinion you're gonna develop,
or just expectations. So from like the media and movie perspective, right? Growing up as a woman, you see what you want to grow up as. You see what men find attractive or what men have crushes on. They talk about all these women in these movies, and as they get older, like the women just evidently get hotter, right?
Yeah.
So like as a girl, you look at that and you say, I want to be just like that, right?
Yeah.
So they put that on you right away. And Instagram, then social media hits.
Oh yeah.
And
that
the women,
help.
But here's what's even crazier is these women, these younger girls are looking up to these other women and want to look like them and be like them, right? But in reality, they don't look like that.
No.
The girls in the movies in reality, like they don't wake up looking beautiful like that. I guarantee it.
And they're day drinking and they're popping Xanax like Skittles.
Exactly. But my little sister wakes up and says, why don't I look like that?
Dang.
And the depression that comes with that, the eating disorders that come with that,
which
the social anxiety.
Yes, which leads me back to my initial thought of I have to get people's attention, which is why I was like, I should model, which is why I led to Instagram, which is why I was like, well, now that I have people's attention, maybe they'll listen to me and take me seriously. And what happened is they ended up actually not taking me seriously, and that someone actually said that they didn't take me seriously because of my modeling photos I was posting.
Wow.
So there's this fine.
So isn't that crazy how that works?
There's this fine line, it sounds like you're saying, of like, you have to be just pretty enough and you have to be just smart enough. It's like when it's like when you're on you see news stations and they need like a black person on there, but you can't be too black. You got to be just black enough so that you don't offend other people. It sounds like you're saying the same thing. Like you can't be
like a woman has to be involved, but like you can't say that.
Yeah.
You just have to hope
you gotta
that
kind of
she
like
is.
know your place, right? You're like,
exactly.
Do you find that you have to work like twice as hard for everything?
I'm not even gonna let you finish that sentence before I say yes.
Serious?
Yes. Oh,
Damn.
yes. It's almost like I have to show that I'm worthy, or show that I'm like, people know my efforts and they know my skill set, but at the same time, it's once I'm in that zone, I have to prove myself like hands down all the time. There's never a moment of, Marleigh, we know your skill set and like this is absolutely amazing. It's more of,
but it's not the opposite though.
No,
because you're a model. Like, shouldn't it be the other way around? Or like I don't know. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. The modeling world is a little bit more accepting of like the skill set knowledge. Like my agency absolutely loves me. Oh, and that I'm also signed by another agency in New York, but they're very accepting of who I am and what I look like. You hear all these crazy modeling stories of just women getting like battered or, not the right size or not the right look or something like that. And I have not had that yet.
Thank God.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've had people, actually at the last, when I competed at Miss Bikini, basically walk around and say, oh, I didn't win or I didn't place because I don't look like her. So basically, instead of saying like looking up to me, they were almost down talking me because of the work I put in. But it's like at the end of the day, you don't know how much work someone puts into, I don't just wake up and like, oh, ta-da, I look great.
You
gotta work out.
You gotta work out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we've talked. I know everything that goes into
but then
what you have to do.
And at first I was really hurt because I'm like, she didn't even get to take the time to get to know me and what I went through and all this, right? And then at the same time, I was like, you know what? Maybe there's more to it, right? And then you think from a society standpoint, beauty is women like me, right? Like if I don't look this way or hold myself up to the standard that I feel like I have to for modeling. Like I feel like maybe I'm not going to, you know, get bookings or anything like that. So that beauty perspective is really daunting, even still till this day.
Oh, I bet.
Like society has such a huge pull on the woman mind, and Instagram and social media, as much as I love it and as much it was created for good and still can be used for good if used how it was supposed to be, can also be very negative.
Sure.
And that's something
toxic.
Very toxic. Like people can hide behind a screen now.
Yep.
They can make fake accounts. They can make fake accounts of you. They can portray as you.
Yep.
They can portray as someone else and then be mean to you.
Yep.
Like, and then they will just keep going, like TikTok, for instance.
Oh, God.
Great platform.
Yeah.
But
but
once one person comments, it's just downhill after that in terms of negativity. Like I've seen little girls, like younger girls, like my little sister, bawling on TikTok because of one mean comment, but then it just keeps going after that.
So then, so Marleigh, can you seem like a confident person, right? But good. I'm good. I'm reading it right. But like, will that take a toll? Because like, I feel like you can handle like the first 10 comments and you'd be like, I don't care, right?
Yeah.
But would it take a toll? Like if you got, you know what I mean? That if it kept coming in?
Yeah, no matter who you are,
right?
That's going to affect you mentally,
right?
For sure. You could be, and here's the thing too, is the way I hold myself, I always feel like I have to hold myself to like a certain standard. And I've always been like that because of the amount of things that I've been through. And I feel the instant that someone knows the truth about me, because I'm already treated and held to a certain standard, no matter what I do, no matter how perfect, air quotes, perfect, that my life is or portrays to be, which social media is huge on that too, is you never really know truthfully what people are going through. Like I am a real person at the end of the day. Like I have depression, I have anxiety. There's days where I lay on the floor and I don't want to do a damn thing. Seriously. Yeah. Like I literally look in the mirror and I hate who I am. No matter, even though I am who I am. And to other people, they always look up to me and they think like, wow, you're doing so much. You have this perfect life.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's not it. Yeah. No. And if you look at the world and people who have those air quotes, perfect lives, they don't.
That's crazy.
And it's almost, and I don't know where social media said, hey, you need these fantastic photos that portray that you're perfect and happy all the time. Like, where did Instagram go? Yes, let's do that.
It fostered,
like, you know,
it was the catalyst for everybody wants to have a perfect life. And I mean, we've always had versions of this, whether you're in the supermarket and you see People magazine and all these magazines portraying these celebrities in this beautiful, fantastic, fictional world that they live in. We've always desired to have that. And now Instagram finally gives people a platform to participate in that. And boy, they like to participate in it. And that's why you see everybody posting the best parts of their lives. Very few people post the negative shit when they're depressed or they don't have any makeup on or whatever it is.
Well, then post whatever, man. I mean, I just post dumb stuff, man. So that people, I don't care.
It's a problem.
It's my Instagram.
Yeah. But then you see like, and this is, I keep saying Instagram because it's my favorite
platform.
Me too. But then you see like Instagram and LinkedIn, and you see entrepreneurs wanting to share like the gritty, that like the hard times that they went through to get to that point, but it's still polished. It's still perfect.
Oh, that's me and Martin's biggest thing. It's a joke. We think LinkedIn, like you're like LinkedIn. Yeah,
I'm so glad I brought this up, gentlemen.
No, because the basis for LinkedIn, you're not going to put anything bad.
Yeah.
Why would you do that, right? Yep. So it's a bunch of fake people.
Yeah.
I'm the CEO of
peddling bullshit.
It's the dumbest thing because how, like, what are you going to say? No, I got laid off today and I'm finding like they're not going to do that.
Everyone would be like, me too.
Right? Like,
me too, bro.
But like, that's why I hate LinkedIn. Like, I know people like it and you can find stuff, but I just feel like it's, I think you could, I feel like you can lie on that platform.
And people believe you.
And people could believe it, right? You put the CEO on this, you did this, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's your accolades, but there might not even be any like content behind it. You know?
And again, it's like they say they want the truth and the nitty gritty, and they say that they want to hear about your struggles. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, you don't.
No. Yeah, exactly.
That's not the content that blows up.
No.
That's not it.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So.
Me too. I can't stand LinkedIn.
You know, this episode is called Being a Woman, and I'd be remiss if I didn't at least dabble in this conversation, and we don't have time to get too deep into it.
Yeah.
But you know, the Me Too movement has really come to life over the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's obviously shifted the landscape and the playing ground for women and given them some power back.
Yeah.
Do you feel safer or more optimistic that a lot of those things that people were able to get away with in the shadows, do you feel like that is you're really seeing change from friends that you talk to or fellow women that you engage with?
I honestly, the movement itself was amazing, but I still feel like people are still getting away with it.
Sure.
I think I'm again a huge fan of marketing, and I'm going to relate this to kind of a really weird analogy, but I swear it makes sense. So Seaspiracy talked about the plastic straws and the plastic problem in the ocean.
Yes.
So the straws themselves were a marketing campaign, okay? Which I'm sure you heard of. We had to switch to paper straws and metal straws.
Yes.
Well, they're like a super, 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 super small percentage of the actual problem of the plastic in the ocean. Okay. So really what it was a way for you to detract your attention from the real problem.
Dude, I knew that, man.
And feel like you're helping.
See?
Okay?
Gotcha.
I knew this. I'm like, dude, this paper straw. I'm like, I got this paper straw. I'm like, oh, dude, you're helping the. But I'm like, dude, like 5 minutes, if I leave my drink in this paper straw, I can't. I'm not using it.
Yeah.
I knew it, man. I was like, dude, so you're telling me a straw, like, and I know people are gonna come for me right now, but I don't care because it's. I agree. That's a little bit. That's not the big problem. I knew it.
No, but like alluding to the Me Too movement,
Sure,
it did do a lot, but at the same time, it's almost like that paper straw to the ocean problem. It's like the Me Too movement is just a small increment of what the real problem is.
Sure.
So it's not that it's detracting it away. It's women are still scared to speak up because no one takes them seriously, or they're not heard, or they're lying, or they're just going to get a lot of backlash, like, oh, you're making that up, or oh, even just like what women wear. There was this huge social media campaign going on about no matter what a woman's wearing this weekend for Halloween, like no means no.
Yeah.
Like that's still like we shouldn't have to say that. That should be a given.
See, that's the dumb.
Men should understand that.
See, that's a dumb. Like I wouldn't even think about that, but like when you have to say it, I'm like, dude, of course, that's crazy.
And honestly, everyone was sharing it, and it's just
it's fucking pathetic.
It is.
It's pathetic for I'm going to tell a little story. When I used to work at the Honda dealership, I worked on cars for 20 years. You know that.
Yep.
And we had a service advisor she modeled, and she was a very attractive person, also very, very intelligent. But every time I would have to go on a test drive with these customers for a rattle or something like that, and she was helping that customer, I would get into that car with that customer. I'd be like, hey, I'm Martin, let's go for a ride and see what this noise or this rattle is. And the first thing they would always the man would make some comment about, oh boy, I can't believe you get to work with her. And oh, is she single? And they make these comments. And it's fucking infuriating.
Yeah.
Because I have so many women in my life who I respect, and to see smart, intelligent women be dumbed down to just a piece of ass is
I can relate to that. It's almost instead of people getting to know who I am.
That's what men will never have to deal with in their entire fucking life.
You don't think women treat us like meat? No.
Yeah, they do, but not on the level that men treat
I know
women,
what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah. It's almost like instead of people getting to know me, like I shouldn't have to tell my story to get any sort of credit or notion of, you know what I'm saying? Like I shouldn't have to go out of my way to explain myself on anything.
Yeah.
And what I've found is people will say, oh, she has these air quotes accolades, but like look at her Instagram, or this is what she looks like. Like instantly it's just like no matter what I'm saying, it's
and it's like what the
disregarded.
Does that make me dumber because I'm in a bikini? Like
exactly.
are you less intelligent? Are you less of an entrepreneur? Are you less motivated?
No.
Because you model?
Yeah.
I mean the answer is no, but I struggle with full-grown adults, men and women who separate and differentiate those two things. Like there's this dichotomy that they live in where if you're a model, like you can't be a business owner or anything less than, again, just a piece of ass, some flesh.
I will say, so before I came here, I actually showed my questions to one of my coworkers at Wibbick, and she had mentioned, you know what, Marleigh? Because she like read them and she's like, these are really good questions. She's like, there's a lot of power in saying nothing. So like, for instance, and the reason why I haven't told my story is I'm almost more powerful by not telling my story and letting others think what they want to think than actually sitting there wasting my time on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter saying, no, take me seriously. No, take me seriously. Because the only person at the end of the day that I have to like prove to is myself, right? I'm proud of everything that I do. I know who I am. And if people don't want to get to know me, that's not my problem.
Yeah. I got a massive question for you too. I know we always like to keep this show but we can go over a little bit. We can do whatever we want, right? We host a show, right? I got a massive question though.
Oh boy.
So today is about being a woman, right?
Sure.
So now what happens if we have someone that wants to change their gender?
Oh.
To a woman.
Do it.
Yeah.
What is it going to be seen by women as a bad thing? Is it going to be seen by men as a bad thing?
Yeah.
Or are they not considered a woman?
I've had a lot of experience. So I've had a transgender friend in high school. I had 2. So the first one was when I was living. So I went to 10 different schools, 3 different high schools. One of the high schools I went to, one of my transgender friends was basically born both, looked more like a man, but chose to be a female.
Okay.
And that is just what she wanted to do, and she was my friend, and she got bullied a lot. I mean, she basically, people, you could hear him making comments on the hallway like, that's not a man, why is he dressed like that instead of saying she, which is the importance of pronouns. And I saw how much that hurt her, and she would not even want to come to school. She'd call into school, and then I would go over to her house and she was just crying all day because people didn't like her for her.
Dang.
But she can't change her. She's born like that. Like, she cannot change who she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who she is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy.
Who is anyone to tell you
who you are?
Should be,
exactly.
who you are,
I even get that, and I'm me. You know what I'm saying? And then in high school, I had another friend who was a he at the time.
Yep.
Super close. I never really, got an inkling of them wanting to change their gender or anything like that. And then 3 years ago, I saw on Facebook that he was dating another he, and then he was going to undergo a gender change, and now he is a she, and she looks great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
literally looks great. And that's a decision that she made and that she wanted to do, and she's happy with it. You got
some people that'd be like, "Oh, well, you're born a man, you can't be a woman,"
and that's
right. And like, even if they turn into a woman, and they're
do you know what people those are? Those are not to bring generations into this, but that's the older generation.
Okay, boomer.
No,
right? And a lot of the issues I run into too is with the older generation.
Yes, me too.
Here's
the time. We don't connect.
Someone explained this to me, and I'm paraphrasing it. And transgender people have walked among us
for
since
years.
The beginning of fucking time. It's not like this is some new TikTok dance.
No, just because they decided to come out now doesn't mean it's a new thing.
They weren't able to. It's the same thing with gay people.
Yep.
They've been around since the beginning of fucking time.
Yep.
And just because they finally feel safe to come out now
doesn't mean it's wrong or bad.
Doesn't mean it's wrong or bad, or all of a sudden it's some new.
So this older generation, we're gonna be done with them. You know what? You know what? If they watch the show, sorry, man. You guys gotta. You guys gotta.
I struggle with. Here's one of the things I always talk about with human beings, and you can apply this to just about any version of a human being. Why? You look at every species on planet Earth. I don't care if it's a fucking owl or a cat or whatever. Every animal has different coats. They look different. There's plenty of animals out there who they're homosexual, or they're gay animals, or there's transgender animals. Why are human beings exempt from looking different from one another? Why are human beings exempt from having a different sexual scale of I don't. It blows my mind that we think we have such a myopic view of ourselves compared to other species on planet Earth when we're no different.
I love when Martin used big words that I don't understand. I love it.
All right,
because I don't.
Final question, and there could be a lot of dead silence in this because I didn't even think about this.
Okay.
We'll start with you, Marleigh, and then Ian.
God.
We'll go with you.
Thinking is my strong.
If you could have dinner with 2 influential women, dead or alive, who would they be?
Okay, so I actually know the first answer to this because I believe it's Bobby Black. Was that the Summerfest CEO or founder?
Bo Black?
Bo Black,
Yes.
yeah. So someone told me her story. I think it was earlier this year on how she obviously was, the person behind Summerfest at the time. And she also modeled for Playboy.
Did she really?
Dang.
Shut up. I did not know that.
Yep. And guess what?
What?
Guess who got a whole bunch of shit for it? She did. And you know what she said to people? She said, if you're going to look at me in that light and that light only, then I don't want anything to do with you.
Sure.
Do you know how freaking are you kidding me?
God.
And she literally was the go-to person at Summerfest in the city of Milwaukee as a model and an entrepreneur and just a director in general.
Damn.
I know for sure instantly that would be the person I would literally want to talk to, like hands down.
And I think she just passed away as well. She
did. I know, unfortunately, but you said dead or alive.
Yeah.
Dead or alive.
But that one for sure, like hands down,
sure.
that would be where I start the conversation.
Yeah.
Hands down.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a fascinating one.
Isn't that crazy? And since she did it in the city of Milwaukee too, obviously it's relevant to me.
Oh, absolutely.
But another one I'm gonna have to think about. So pass. Ian.
I think I have 3.
Okay.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I have 3.
Okay, great. You can have my second.
Yeah, right. Rosa Parks.
Oh,
yeah, Rosa Parks for sure. That's like top.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Well,
then
done.
I was trying to be challenging.
No, then so Oprah.
Yes. God damn it. That was gonna be one of mine.
Oh, was it? Okay,
All right.
Oprah. And then my last one is just because when I was little, I've always had a crush on this girl. I love this woman. Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, but again, she obviously she's getting older now, but still doesn't matter. But like her voice,
still be great.
Oh my! I love that girl since I was like, oh my, like Hero when that come on. You know that song?
Yes.
When the hero come, I don't have a. I was like, oh, sing to me. Like, I felt like she was singing that to me. I don't even know how old I was. I was probably like 10.
Yeah.
Right, but like it just that girl.
You were thirsty for Mariah Carey.
I don't know why.
For sure.
Oh,
gosh,
yeah, that's awesome.
I just wanted her to sing to me. What about you, Martin?
One for sure would be Mae West, who I have a tattoo of one of her quotes on my arm.
Mae West.
You only live once, but if you do it right once,
yeah.
So like she was an actress back in like the 1920s and 30s, and she was a very strong, independent woman. She didn't start her in her first movie till she was 38 years old. So very, not that I'm comparing myself to Mae
there's
West,
still hope for us.
Very,
still be actors.
Very similar to my story. I didn't get started my career till late. She at one point she was the second richest person in the United States. Her first movie she produced was called Sex, and it was basically looking at like just not the underworld, but the story of like homosexuality and just sex in the United States. In a time where like seeing that in a movie theater was like crazy. She was arrested for it, and she was just she was a trailblazer back in the 20s and 30s and 40s. And so I would love to meet her. And then you took Oprah, so I guess forget that one.
You liked Oprah?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I guess probably for me the other one would be
she's a great story.
Right?
I don't care who knows. Probably Hillary Clinton. I always felt like she should have been the first female president, and she's just a bad bitch. I don't know. I've always enjoyed how steadfast and intrepid she was, and she just you always hear when women run for office and stuff like that. Are they going to able to do it emotionally? What if they cry? And watching her just get ripped apart for the way she looked, and everything that had nothing to do with her being a politician, and just a smart, intelligent woman, and watching her just breeze through that. I don't know. I would love to meet her and pick her brain because she's a far stronger human being than I could ever hope to be.
You know who I thought of?
Who?
Audrey Hepburn.
Ooh! Fuck, I love her.
Dang. Now that would be a very great interview.
Oh man.
Dang.
She was another one. The way, like,
there's so many things that she could.
Do you have a favorite Audrey Hepburn movie?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I could not pick. Honestly,
awesome.
I love her. Yeah. Seriously.
Did you see, this was probably 10 years ago during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Hershey's or Dove chocolate, but they did a commercial and they recreated her the way that they recreated like Tupac and all those.
Yeah.
And she was like in a car eating it, and like it looked just like her. It was
freaky.
It was so cool. She's hot too.
2 more, but then I know I can only have two, but they just came to my mind.
Sure.
J-Lo and Christina Aguilera.
Ooh.
Because they both have really similar, like Christina Aguilera.
I loved her too. She in a bottle.
Oh, you're thinking about that music video, aren't you?
Oh my gosh.
Well, she actually, when she was little, she kind of had a similar like upbringing as me. Like for about 6 years, my mom and I like lost communication, didn't talk, and she was not really on good terms with her mom also. And she kind of went through some similar things that I did. So it'd be very interesting to see, you know, where she's at now and how it all kind of transpired.
Sure.
Into
Could you imagine
her life.
if we got to sit down with any of these women? And
I probably wouldn't say a word. I'd be like, hi.
I probably wouldn't stop talking.
All right, one last
like,
question. Do you think in the next 20 years we'll see a woman president?
Oh yes.
In the most powerful position in the world.
Yeah, you want to know something funny?
Huh.
So I'm not going to pull up the screenshot, but just trust me on this, okay? So you know how Facebook will give you reminders on like previous posts?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
5 years ago on Facebook.
Yeah.
They let me know this like last week. Apparently, I posted on Facebook that I'm going to be the next female president. Like I'm going to be the first female president.
Marleigh, I would vote for you.
I would vote for you.
I saw that. I was like, I said that 5 years ago. Maybe it was longer than that, but it was definitely when I was like younger. And it literally
How
said,
old do you have to be? 34?
It said it literally said I'm going to be the first female president.
Do it.
And that was my post.
That's funny.
On
Marleigh
Facebook.
for president.
Like what?
Marleigh
Are you serious?
for president. Marleigh,
I don't know if I can handle that.
Where can they find you? Where can they get a hold of you? Where can they just, if they want to just talk to you?
Milwaukee. I'm just kidding. Milwaukee. No. So on Instagram you could call me, you could text me all day long, but if you Instagram message me, I'll answer that. Unless you're Martin.
Yeah.
But no, Moments with Marleigh is my Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter because it's a lot of work. I'm also on LinkedIn. I also have a website, momentswithmarleigh.com.
Nice.
Don't judge me on it because I haven't updated it in a really long time, which is like a trend for me. But yeah, just message me on Instagram.
Boom. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, you guys.
It's nice seeing you.
Are welcome. Bam, we're done. Thanks for listening.
Catch us on our social at SaidNoOnePod.
See you next time.
Beep, 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 beep.